Howdy there, folks. How are y'all doing? My name is Rees, and welcome back to Tekkit 2, the Let's Play that'll never end. It just keeps going, and we keep finding new things that I want to do. Like, for instance, I've been getting the villagers out here with picks and shovels, and they've been clearing away all of this land here next to the factory so that we can continue to expand their new village and, I don't know, maybe build some kind of a weapons store out here? I haven't really decided. The two locations that I'm considering for weapons store are down here, where it'll be right across from the trading post, so as people make their way along the waterways to shop with Fernie, they'll look across the way and think, oh, look, high-class weaponry and explosives. Let's go get some of those as well. So that's idea number one. That also means that it's pretty well protected on both sides, like no one's going to sneak in and steal things because they'd have to come along one of these waterways, go through the factory or the house or through the dwarf kingdom. So, I mean, that's just one idea. The other option is out here, so that when people are on their way across the ocean, they'll be like, oh, why go to Fernie's? We can go over here and just buy swords and cleavers and things. I don't know. I don't really want to. I kind of like the dwarves. Like, on an actual level, I think they're kind of fun, so I don't really want to ruin their business. I just want to get a little bit of it. You know, I just want to make a little bit of, and then most of our sales are going to go to these two warring nations. You know, that's sort of the real goal. But we do need more housing. This is not enough housing. We can house them up here. We can house them down here. We can house them on this island. We can house them anywhere. I just figured, you know what? We're going to want to build something over here at some point. So we might as well go ahead and have this cleared out. It's also leading up to an additional thing that I want to do. There's a second goal with all of this, and I needed to get it kind of level with all of this over here in order for this potential aesthetic change to work. See, now I got to try to figure out how to get back in here. There we go. So I did something else inside of here. I built more of these. So last time around, we experimented with having all of these and having all of them pump diamonds into there, and I realized, you know what, we probably need more. So I built some more, and look, yeah, are there houses outside that completely block some of these windows? Yeah, there are. But I tried without doing those, cut in, and it just looked weird. I like the look of it with the pillars and everything. I think this is a really good look, so that's what we did. And that's how it turned out. And if you're wondering how many diamonds we have, all of those are set up exactly the same as these, by the way. So it's the exact same thing. They're up here. They are producing diamonds. And then you've got your wooden transport pipe with your plugs all around, a pulsar, gold, and then iron pipage. And then it all comes back around. And oh, goodness. Yeah, so this typically does happen right after I log in. Some things get thrown out on the ground. Why? Oh dear. Sorry, the W key on my orb weaver is now, like, officially broken, and that was the sound of me getting a message. I was wondering why it kept flopping off, and now I see why. It's because it is completely broken. Okay, well, I'll need to get a new one then. It doesn't have hot swappable or even swappable. Yeah, I don't think it does. No, that's not swappable. That's, like, baked in, the actual key itself. So that's... I guess I could get a new... Actually, it's just the cap that's broken. I could probably get a new cap and keep using this darn thing. I've had it for years at this point. Or I could probably just... Oh, well, now it's jammed on there. I'm sorry, you can't see any of this. This isn't thrilling content, is it? Oh, gosh, is the key... What's happening? The key... No, the key itself's not jammed. Why won't you go back on? I'm trying to record a video here. This is cringe. There we go. All right, so now everything's piping into here. We've got about 3,829, 31, 33 diamonds, so everything's going really well there. Oh boy, we've got even more if they'd stop being thrown out on the ground. Again, this happens from time to time. Right after you sign in, there's always a bit of a period of about 5 minutes where periodically things get thrown on the ground, and I'm not really sure why. If I had to speculate, I'd say it's probably because, and I don't know this to be the fact, but I think maybe... When the game is constantly calling for items to be sent through the transport pipes, right? The logistics pipes. And when you log out, it's already summoned some, so those are in the pipe. And then when you log back in, it doesn't register that those items are on the way, so it sends out the summons again. But then by the time the requested items arrive, the items that were already in transit have arrived as well. And there's nowhere for those items to go, but instead of sending them back, for whatever reason, the game just barfs them up onto the ground. I don't know if that's actually what's happening. That's just been my working theory. And this orb weaver, it gets jammed if I don't hit down in the exact right way. This is going to be such a difficult... Oh, I can't consistently hit... It's the S key, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. It's the one that controls moving backwards. This is going to get very confusing, because I backpedal a lot. Well, what are we doing today, folks? Well, like I said, we're going to be doing some stuff over here, but I don't know if that's going to be today. But basically, I want to relocate all of that down there, and have this stretch out this way, and we're going to do pillars, same as this side. The issue is that you might remember through this wall, there is a little shelf, the solar shelf, if you're so inclined. Also, I'm sorry, I need to silence my phone. Everything is a disaster here. Anyway, if we just, like, carve through the wall here... Our beautiful wall is full of dirt. That's disturbing, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. So if we actually carve through the wall here to make pillars, it's going to go into this room. And that's kind of okay. I'm okay with that, because we'll just have the window. I mean, what we might do is we might lower this floor here to make it level with what will eventually be the walkway out there. And then we'll have the pillars going into this room. And then maybe we replace these windows with pillars as well. Or maybe they're like alternating staggered pillars. Or maybe they're just big windows. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I'm going to figure out right now. Because the other thing that I wanted to talk to you folks about, the other idea that I had was, you might remember we discussed building a big tower. And you might have noticed, based on everything that I was just talking about, that that's not necessarily my plan anymore. We're not using this territory out here for a big tower. We're going to use it to expand the village. But that doesn't mean we're not going to build a big tower. What if we built the big tower right here, on top of the factory? And the idea that I had for this is we keep all of this part of the factory the same, but then right here, where all of this snow is for whatever reason, and I really do need to get rid of it all, what about right here? We just take this and we go back across with it, okay? And we kind of separate this part of the factory, and we start building up with it. So instead of like a skinny spiral tower reaching to the heavens, all of this mass becomes a tower that just looms over everything. And we can stand atop it, and everyone can look at us and despair. How good does that sound? You know, I finished a previous episode, not the most recent, but, you know, the one where we were having a look at the city and everything. I finished it with the question, are we kings? And it was a genuine question. I don't know. You know, we kind of make jokes and quips and stuff about the government bodies and war and countries, but if that's the kingdom of the pigmen, and that's the country of the Endermen, and that's the dwarf kingdom, well then what am I? If I've just got my own territory, and I've got subjects that live under my rule, does that not make me a king? Am I not entitled to rule this land that I own and those who dwell within it? I feel like I must be. And in fact, maybe it was even ordained that I rule, you know? Also, this is the worst tool for this, because even if you're, like, really feathering the button, it's very likely that that's gonna happen, and you're just gonna have to, like, jump up and replace it. And I can't hit the back key anymore. It's just completely, like, jammed in place. This is very frustrating. I'm gonna have to do something about this. I'm gonna have to get a new gamepad. I can't play with a mouse, just a regular keyboard anymore, either. I have, what, 10 years now of muscle memory for using this orb? Not 10 years. It's not been that long. Actually, hold on. When did I get this? Was it at my first apartment? Yeah. Yeah, pretty close to 10 years of muscle memory with this orb weaver. It's very difficult to go to anything else. I don't even know if they make it anymore. I guess I could check. Oh. Okay, I'm on the website and I'm not seeing the orb weaver. What I'm seeing is they've got a Tartarus 2, or a Tartarus, if you're so inclined. I always thought it was Tartarus, but everyone who reviewed these said Tartarus, and I was like, am I a genius and I'm the only one who's figured this out, or is everyone else an idiot? I'm gonna go with Tartarus. There's a Tartarus 2, and then a Tartarus Pro, and a Tartarus Pro Mercury, which is white, which kind of looks sick. What's the difference between the Pro and the 2? They look identical. What? Oh, okay, it's Mecha Membrane on the Tartarus V2, Mecha Membrane keys, versus analog optical switches, dual function keys, and adjustable actuation. That sounds unnecessary. What? Why'd they get rid of one of the buttons for a scroll wheel? That's this button, too. Whichever one that is. Is that C? Let's see. If this is S, then this is X, C, V. It doesn't have a V key on it. Why doesn't it have a V key? Why has it got a scroll wheel? Who asked for that? No one asked for that. No one wants that. No one wants... Who designs these things? Who makes these terrible decisions? I'm looking Looking up keycap replacements for the Orb Weaver now. I found some lunatic on Imgur that's dismantled his and replaced it with just regular keycaps, and that's probably what I'm going to do, because that's a lot cheaper than paying $130 for a new Tartarus Pro. It's insane. Modifying Orb Reaver for custom keycaps. These just look like regular old keycaps. That's the move right there. That is the move. I'm sorry. My keycap problems are not your problems. I'm gonna put all of this away. And I think what I'll do first, here, I kind of want to explain why we're not working in the factory and getting the high voltage solar panels built. And it's because I realize that the more we add, the more strain we have on the bits of the supply line that we've already built. And I don't want to continue to add more things until we can reach... Why is this still happening? This shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't just... It's specifically furnaces and diamonds as well, which is weird. Oh, also, I added a world anchor, or like a world spike over here, just to be sure. And I did notice, we got a comment from... Oh, I don't want to say a name and then realize I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure there was a comment from executive producer and channel member Jake Yates about a world anchor that did not... Let's see, the world anchor uses... Blah, 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 blah. Here it is, yeah. So it was from Jake Yates. Found it. Okay, it was from Jake Yates, yes. I thought I remembered that. There's a passive world spike, which has an EMC value. You can't find it by searching it. You can only find it by looking at uses for ender pearls and go through the crafting options. So let's see. Ender pearls. Or I guess just ender pearl, obviously. And then uses. And then I don't know what direction was going to get us there fastest. But I also don't know what it's going to look like, which is why I'm going through and checking everything I'm looking at. Although I'm pretty sure it's none of these things. What is that? A Reether Pearl? Or I don't know what you would do with that. It looks kind of cool, though. Tracker, Rep, Gravisand. Is that like gravity-defying sand? What? I assume that is exactly what that is. I'm sorry. Adding that, I'm assuming it lets you teleport. I don't know that to be true. Also, an Ender Offset Wand. Don't know what that does. There's a lot of interesting things that we're finding here. Voidstone. That sounds kind of fun. We should be doing this for random items. Okay, hold on. So we got a standard world spike from Railcraft. Isn't that what we built? A personal world spike. Passive world spike. Add that. That's the one. It's got an EMC value. What? How did we not notice this? World spike points... expends world spike. Yeah, we knew about these. These aren't new to us. All right, well there you go. And so we can build it with gold, prismarine, obsidian, and an ender pearl. Prismarine we literally have none of, and I didn't even know that was in this version of Minecraft because I don't know the versions well enough. But I know where to get it. Oh, apparently we can just use UU matter, which is handy. That's actually super handy. But also we could go find like an undersea dungeon somewhere and just fight these weirdos, and that could be fun. I don't know enough about Minecraft to know these things, you know? I'm a bit of a noob with the new stuff. But that's an option, so thank you, Jake Yates. Thank you, channel member, supporter, possibly executive producer of this episode. I try to stagger them. We only have 2. So it could have also been Purple Lemons, in which case, thank you, Purple Lemons, for your support as well. I'm sorry that I keep thinking Jake Yates. I know I'm the worst Grand Puff in the world. Have we spat any more diamonds in the ground? No, we're doing pretty well. Right, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to... trying to get back to where we left off last time, before I got distracted, which keeps happening. I don't want to keep adding on to the factory until we've got sort of the back end taken care of. I want to make sure that everything is being manufactured in a timely manner and that we have enough of everything and that everything's being produced reasonably. And I just, until some of the old stuff is dealt with, I don't want to go on expanding the factory and adding the new stuff, even though we are close now. We are close now. We've gotten this far, you know. We are producing these in a pretty decent pace. You know, we got 3,000 of them now, which means the next thing that we have to automate is, oh gosh, see, it's all a mess. I don't even know which of these are necessary, because I was just like throwing stuff down here, and like I don't need that there anymore, and I don't need that there anymore, and then I just added these 3 items for the heck of it. The terraformer, we don't really need to be tracking that right now. I feel like right now we need to be focusing on is high voltage stuff, right? That's all that needs to be up here. Everything else can come later. But for right now, that's kind of where we are. Of course, I'm not getting anything done because I'm looking at keycaps now on eBay. God, this is the worst video I've ever made in this series. All right, before we do anything, I need to take you on a little bit of a journey I just went on because I realized I was pretty hungry, so I paused the video. Actually paused the recording, got up, made a few eggs, ate that, came back, sat down, and was like, I can't deal with this W key. So I looked around for some spare keycaps, found some. Most of them were too tall. The ones that weren't too tall were too wide, so that wasn't going to work. And then I went online, and I was like, maybe I'll just buy the Tartarus Pro. Tartarus Pro is $130. I don't see it being worth that much, but I could get it open box, right, for like $80. And I was like, okay, well, there's an option. But then I noticed that I could get a Red Dragon K585, which is basically just like it's a gamepad, right? I love the gamepad. I like the ergonomics of the gamepad. I love a gamepad. That's why I want a Tartarus. And I was like, man, that thing's $35. I can get it in white. It has actual mechanical keys and normal caps from what it looks like here, and they're swappable, right? 3 or 5 pin. This is clear the way I think it's swappable. Is it swappable? What did it say? Let me make sure before I just make that claim. 3 types for essential needs. Well, okay, yeah, I got the brown switches, but it also has red and blue. And then somewhere around in here, it said that, yeah, 3 or 5 pins. Pop them out. Swap them if you want to. That's pretty cool. $35. Comes in white. It has more keys. I went with that. I don't know if I'm going to like it. It doesn't look as ergonomic. That's the thing I liked about the Orb Weaver. And from the looks of things, the Tartarus, your hand just kind of grips it real nice. But it's $35, so if I hate it, I haven't spent a whole lot of money. I'm kind of sick of Razer anyway. Their build quality sucks. Their products are not great. I remember when I bought the Orb Weaver, I had a channel member, Gardner, who used to be the the sugar daddy of the channel and helped fund a lot of the early tech that we got. Was like, hey, you probably shouldn't buy Razer. They don't make good stuff. And I was like, I'm sure it'll be fine. And to be fair, I've had the Orb Weaver for nearly a decade. It's been okay, but I've always had problems with it. The little cushion where you rest your palm, the glue under there melted within like a year, and it started running out and getting on my palm. And I was like, why am I melting? But that wasn't it. I wasn't melting. It was the Orb Weaver. And then, yeah, I don't know. We started having trouble with the keys popping off a couple of years ago. One of the keys doesn't read consistently. That's why I've had trouble dodging in Assassin's Creed when that started playing through that game. I thought it was just awful, but no, the key just doesn't always register. I'm ready to try something different. And if it's terrible, it's terrible. Also, it just has regular keys, so I don't know if I'll have to go through and do a whole bunch of finagling to get it reconfigured in Linux. Like I have to use Keymapper in Linux to get the Razer product to work. If this doesn't work, maybe I'll pick up another different brand, but I'm kind of ready to move on past Razer, if I'm honest with you. So I'll let you know when the Red Dragon comes in. We'll talk about it. I'll let you know how it works out for me. Until then, I'm going to do the thing that I said I was going to do a long time ago, and well, I'll tell you what we're going to do first is we're actually going to kind of mock out how this would look if we decided to build a massive tower. So what I'd have to do first off is figure out the angle here of how this would jut out. And I think the issue is that that's in the way now there, because I want it to kind of follow this same curve here. So, well, yeah, it's going to kind of be in the way, but that's okay. I can move all of that down a little bit if it comes down to it. So that's going to have to kind of swing out here. And then I don't want to have a wall down there, so what we might do is like an archway, because you got to have support. Even if it's only visual, you don't want that to just be like floating bits of marble, because that looks silly. So we'll have some kind of like an arch coming up and supporting it, and then coming back around to here. I'm going to mock that up real quick and kind of show you what I mean. Right, so I haven't built the underlying structure here, but I noticed something odd, and that was this corner. This corner was not symmetrical with all the other corners. The corners of this building have a design. It's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Wait, this one's different too! Why is that one different? These are the corners over here that I've based everything around. This is the inside corner. It's 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Or 2, 2, 2. You see what I mean? And then on the outside, it's the inverse, right? It's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. Well, okay, not the inverse, but okay, so maybe this one is correct. I was looking at the outside. The inside here, yeah, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. Or 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. You know what I mean. For some reason, this corner just wasn't like that, so I had to correct it, and now there's a pillar going through this individual's roof, and I hope they don't mind or get upset about it. But what can you do? And then now, look at this. This is just, like, very plainly in the way, so all of these will have to be shuffled around. I just wanted to give you an update on the situation. I'm just realizing that this entire time the factory has existed, it's been a lie. Okay. Well, I don't know about this. I don't know about this design. It looks very, it's too squared. I think it needs to be a more gradual sort of an arc. I was trying to go for something different than just the stairs, you know, but looking at it now, I think I hate what I've done here, and I need to redo it. But this is the general idea. This is the sort of archway we're going to have. And I did have to eliminate an entire one of these pods, and now I'm realizing that it's no longer, like, even along the side here. And look, this one has a pillar here, and that one has a glass down there, starting instead of a pillar. And the only way to correct that would be to shift that pillar over, and then shift all of those pillars over, and have somewhere in the middle, I guess right about here, like a double wide glass pane, but then maybe some kind of a design so it's hidden and hiding the fact that it's not perfectly symmetrical. Or I pick up the entire factory and I move it over 1 block that direction. I could do that. Not above such activities. I could do that, and I might. You can't tell me what to do. My gosh, the amount of effort that would take, though, to relocate everything. I definitely just wouldn't use World Edit. Anyway, that's a situation for later to deal with. For right now, this is what it looks like at the top. And you can see we've got these sort of carved out. And I think that looks pretty good. And then the tower, I'm not really sure what we would do. Because where would we just use the inside wall, or would we still make it 3 thick? I don't know. I haven't really thought that far through. I feel like we would go along the outside, right? We would kind of build up the wall along the outside, which means that it would... I can make that work, yeah. I could have it open and have some doors here. Should I go ahead and mock that up next, I guess? I guess that would be the next thing to do. Could we just use this? Would this work? Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Dang it! Even if I wanted to extend the whole thing in that direction by 1, that would mess up the symmetry of the solar panel shelf. So I can't do that. I just have to make do with the thing as it is, and that's fine too. That's okay. I'll survive. I will survive. Here's what we've got, right? So we can walk through here for whatever reason, if you want to. I can't imagine wanting to, but if that, you know, at the end of the day, that's your prerogative. And then what we can do is we can have right here doors on either side that you can walk into, and here you go. Now you're inside. Congratulations. And then... look, I haven't really thought this whole tower thing out yet. This is the tower, and it's going to go up. And it's going to go up, and it's going to be amazing. And then maybe there will also be windows. Maybe there will be glass floors. Ooh. Maybe every floor after the first floor is a glass floor. How cool is that? So from the ground, you can look up and see straight through to the sky. And at noon, the sun will be right overhead and shine straight down into the factory. It sounds beautiful. It sounds enchanting. It sounds charming. I like that. And then what I was going to say is for the doors, we can do one of these. And then from there, what we can do is we can have it extend over and kind of complete what the corner should look like based on how the outside corners normally look. So, for example, over here, what we've got to do is we've got to follow this sort of a vibe. So it's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and then 1. And then I can remember that. Watch me go. Watch me immediately give up and create a squared edge instead first, and then work my way backwards. There we go. There we go. That's what we're looking for right there, I think. No. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Perfect. So that's how that'll kind of... Yeah, that looks great. And then... it'll just be like suspended there, and you can kind of walk over, and I don't know, maybe we'll have like a wall here or something so you don't walk off the edge, although we've never had any kind of wall or gate before, so I don't know how we would start now. These will have to be super secured. Maybe we'll make them out of invisible doors with invisible pressure plates. That'll probably be a good idea. Although that's kind of obvious that they're there considering the walkway and everything, but whatever. Am I worried about monsters? A little bit, but not a whole lot, because I've not seen any spawn in a long time, which is a little bit sus, but we're going to carry on and not worry about it. Several days later. Ooh, this is funky. This is very funky. I got it. I got the red dragon. I don't know if I like it. I'm having some issues with it, because there's no like Linux client. I thought I could use my key remapper to just like inject new key mappings, and I can, but the problem is it's got F1, 2, 3, and 4, which is nice, but that's the same bindings as G2, 3, 4, and 5, and then G1 I think is bound to, geez, I don't even remember. What I do know is that the mapping as it stands now means that if I change G1, right, it also changes F1. Because they're both, like, mapped... it's very confusing. So I might have to boot into Windows and use the Windows software to change it, because I think it does have onboard memory. And then maybe I can sign back into... I'm sorry, I'm just... Welcome back to Tekkit. I've not been idle. I have been working with the old broken Razor, Chroma, Naga, Saki... What was it? Orb Weaver? I've already forgotten. It's so irrelevant to me. This thing fits weird in the hand, and I don't have the... like the muscle memory of using the Orb Weaver for like 8 years is hard to break, but I've been busy. I guess I need to explain why I'm not finished and why I'm about to put this video out anyway, because I actually need your folks' opinion on the situation before I proceed. Okay, so let me just step in here, and I'll just turn around and now let me explain. All right. I know this might look confusing, because in a previous video I said the words, "Am I a king?" and it might look like I'm starting to build a castle up there, but that's not what that, ignore the crenellations, that's not what that is, okay? Let me just sort of explain the situation as it stands right now. Here is the assembly line, and we've got diamonds being produced up there, as you know, and we've got this set up to make even more diamonds. I'm looking into ways to manufacture and craft things slightly more efficiently. So we might cover that in the next video, maybe not. But I did also go ahead and I built a third floor, right? So like if you consider this the second floor, then this up here is going to be the third floor. This is how we get in here for right now. And as you can see, we had to make do with this not being laid out properly to have like, it's an even number. So we just added these little, I don't know, circles with lights in them, and that fixed it. And I think if we go up more floors, I could put the circles and lights in different positions and create shapes. Maybe like a big sword to signify that we're the greatest manufacturer of weapons in all of Minecraftia. That could be fun. But I actually need to ask you folks a question here, because you might have noticed I actually already started to build another floor. That's what these are. This isn't for folks to like hide behind when we're being laid siege to, having siege laid upon us, and then they can peek out and like shoot out. They're not battlements. It's the start of the next floor. Actually, the fun thing about this, you'll notice this floor is a little bit wider than the floor below it, and I realized that completely cut off our solar panels, so I did the only sensible thing I could think of, and I moved the entire solar shelf out 1 block, which is what took the most time. But they are now back in the direct sunlight, so that's good, producing energy again. Just added a nice little stair here, and I didn't move the whole thing, just that upper part, and added a little bit of a staircase down below, a little staircase on that under edge. Oh, and then of course this down here. I guess I should explain this down here too, shouldn't I? Well, I wanted to be able to see out of this wall. I moved the door here too, so it's slightly in a more convenient location. But, you know, when you're up here on this floor, you can see out all the other walls, so I wanted to be able to see out of this wall too. So I just, I trimmed it down level with the second floor, and punched some holes in the wall there, kind of like this, lined them up here. They're doing the staggered thing that we've always talked about. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to maintain that, because it needs to be able to, you know, kind of blend in nicely over here in this corner, but I can't do that. I can't clear out this corner until we've, actually, wait. Could I carve out more of this corner? I think I could. I think I could carve out a couple more blocks and we'd be okay. What I was going to say, though, is all of this needs to be moved, and that's sort of my next objective. But I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to move it to, because the idea that I had is that maybe we've been trying to compress all of this too much, and it makes more sense to build even more space, and instead of packing it all in down there, just have floors. Floors and floors, all of which automate their own little processes, right? So this here could be the floor that generates all the metal. All of the metal here, everyone. All of the iron, all of the gold, all of the bronze. All the bronze gets cooked up here. There's an entire row of solar flowers producing iron and some red matter furnaces to turn that into the refined iron, but then also there's a separate row creating iron just for the sake of having iron, and it's not connected to the row that's... I mean, come on now! Come on now! Sounds good to me. It sounds good to you too, I'm assuming. Doesn't that sound good to everyone? It sounds good to me. It sounds good to me. Can't understand how you wouldn't want that. And then maybe it keeps going. You see, I don't plan on going out anymore because then I'd have to move the solar shelf again. So we might go up and keep it this same size and do another floor and another floor and another floor, and then maybe start slowly tapering it in all the way up, up, up. Can you imagine? Can you see it? Can you visualize it in your mind's eye? This tower rising from the earth, this sheer white tower, just all the way up here at the build height, 256, and that's where my office will be. Well, this is where the roof of my office will be. And from here, I'll have like a big, like a glass floor. I can walk around and I can survey the neighboring kingdoms, and I can work on my machinations of war and manipulate things down below for my citizens, my subjects, my loyal testificate villagers from yonder village that were destroyed. And maybe more in the future if I can arrange it. Bring in more villagers, build more housing, build more floors, build and craft and automate. My question to all of you is, would that look funny? That's the thing I'm mostly concerned about, is if it's just like a single tower. And again, it's not gonna be just one solid blob. It'll kind of like narrow out and stuff, and maybe we'll even have it again, right? Because you know how you have that part, and then it comes out to here, and so maybe after a few floors, it goes out and halves again, continues to go. I mean, you know, the sky's the limit. Well, no, actually, the 256 is the build limit, so that's our actual limit. You know, it doesn't have to be a solid structure going straight up. That, you know, we could shake it up a little bit, but is that going to look weird? I mean, my goal is to have the tallest thing in the game, bar none, to really assert my dominance over all of the other leaders of the world, you know? I mean, we're already, just with our base default house, I think we're, like, maybe at level or a little bit over whatever they've built over there. So that's nice if you kind of get level here. Yeah, well, okay. Well, with this structure, you know, I mean, what are we behind? We're behind the dwarves, and we're behind the Tower of the Eye. But once we get 3 or 4 floors in here, like 3 or 4 additional floors in, we'll be above them, and then we just go all the way to the sky. Who's going to compete with us? Who could possibly compete with us? And then I've had my eye on this nice plot of land here. Because if we get more villagers, and I've got some plans for that. I mean, sure, we've got plenty of room to expand, but if it comes down to it, there's a big plot of land here. Maybe we can buy it. Maybe we can lease it. Maybe we can start a war. I don't know. You know, who knows what could happen next? Coming down, buddy. I mean, the question is it going to look silly? Before I continue working on it, because it's going to take a long time. I got to build all these. You think I'm using World Edit or something? I'm building all this by hand. So comment down below before I do all that effort. And then hopefully while I'm doing that, the villagers will get back out here and finish their work to get those guys out of my basement. All right, I keep calling it the basement. This is the factory floor. I got to get them off the factory floor. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with all this space. Maybe this will all be dedicated to weapons manufacturing. And this will be dedicated to solar panel and solar panel related objects, right? So like all of the metals and everything you need to build solar panels will be manufactured in here. And then we have the 4 quadrants of war. So we've got nukes, swords, I don't know, armors, and rations all manufactured in here. We'll get some, like, you know, freeze-dried beef or whatever they eat in the army. It'll be great. They'll love it. This is shaping up quite nicely, though. Again, just solar flowers, filled with solar flowers, will be glowing from miles away, and people will see it, and they will know my authority is unquestionable, that my power is undeniable. Look at me, all right? Look at me. I'm building, and I'm not going to stop, because it feels good to be alive and on top. My reach will be global, all right? My tower will be secure, because my cause is noble and my power is pure. I can hand out 1 million vaccinations, or let them all die of exasperation, have them all healed from their lacerations, or have them all killed by assassination. I can make anybody go to prison just because I don't like them. And I can do it all with no permission. I have it all under my command because I can guide missiles by satellite. I can hit a target through a telescope. I can end a planet in a holocaust if it comes down to it. Anyway, if you wouldnn't mind, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the tower so far. That'd be pretty handy. Okay, thank you folks for watching. God bless you. I'm gonna go ahead and just get back to building, because even if you folks decide that it's ugly, I should at least have some sort of like topper for it, you know, to get it finished off. God bless you. I'll see you later. Goodbye.